Good evening to all of you. Respected Dr. Sharma brothers and other members of the FOSWL organization, in which I attended many years back, and my experience was very nice. And such an august gathering, I have to deliver something about surrender. That is my really proud privilege. Dear friends and sisters and brothers of this organization and other persons, today I am going to talk something about surrender. Why surrender? The normal, usual aim of life is to perform one's duties nicely with the right spirit. But to achieve the higher goal, that means spirituality, is to realize divine in your own life. So for realization of divine, for realization of God, for realization of Paramatma, many things are needed, but the most important thing, which among those things are, that is surrender. Whatever path you adopt, whatever modality you adopt, ultimately this is surrender, which takes you to divinity, and with this you get identified with your real nature, with your essence, that is your Atma Swarup. So for this Atma Swarup, a term is known as yoga. Usually yoga has many meanings. Change in consciousness is also called yoga. Various exercises is also loosely called yoga. There are Ashtanga yoga, Patanjali yoga, and so many yoga. But these are not really yoga, but these are methods of yoga. Yoga means to get established in your own swarup or in your own essence. And what is that essence? That is Atma. So in yoga, really, you have not to add something nor subtract something. But since by virtue of our ignorance, we are identified with anatma objects, that means I am body, I am mind, I am intellect, I am doctor, I am engineer, I am professor, so many things. For practical purposes, these titles are needed. But for spiritual uplift, you have to get rid of these titles, because you are really not man, but you are really Atma, you are really Paramatma. But because of your ignorance, we consider ourselves identified with various personalities, with various titles. So coming to today's topic, what is surrender? Surrender is a very definable term. One must know what surrender is. Mother, you are very near to Pondicherry, so you must be knowing Sri Aurobindo and Mother.
Yeah.
So Mother used to say, what is surrender? So she said, it is decision taken to hand over all the responsibility of your life to the divine. Very easy to understand, but very difficult to perform.
Yeah.
It is decision taken to hand over all the responsibility of your life to the divine. But if all the responsibility of your life is to the divine, what will I have to do? That means you have to perform every action in the spirit of sacrifice or in yajna form. In Bhagavad Gita, there are so many types of yags are yajnas are described by Lord Krishna. But crux of those things are only three. First thing, you and I perform some duties, niyat karm, naimittik karm, whatever you want to say, your kartabya karm. So whatever action you perform, it should first be devoted to the divine. That means offering to the divine. Any work. If you are a doctor, the service of patient is your duty, but it should be devoted to or offered to divine. Number one. Number two, it should be performed in selfless motive, with selfless motive, niswarth bhavana. And third thing, there should be desirous of leading the world, what we call lok sangrah. That means if we perform our duties or actions, our work with these three spirits, really we are heading towards surrender, and that heading towards surrender means going to our Nij Swarup, Atma Swarup, that is real yoga. So for this, what we'll have to do? Before coming to process, let's understand something. Ramakrishna Paramhans used to say, there are two types of yoga practices. Number one, this is the yoga of baby monkey. Another is that of baby cat. Baby monkey, you must be knowing that whenever it is in infancy, the baby gets attached to the abdomen tummy of her mother or his mother, and it is the effort of that baby to get attached to his or her mother, its mother. There are chances to get rid of that, it may fall down. But second way is that of example of baby cat. You must be knowing a cat just holds its kid in her mouth, and there are least chances of falling down. So this second baby cat, the example is really the surrender. You can perform the things to go towards surrender by your tapasya discipline. But in discipline, there are chances of falling down. But if there is surrender, there is least chances of falling down. And if there is complete surrender, certainly you yourself are not doing yoga, but it is divine who is doing yoga. Then it becomes the responsibility of divine. And divine is more potent. Rather, it is said that he is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. So that becomes the duty of the divine to perform the yoga. If you surrender towards the divine, but thing is, for this surrender, one must be sincere, one must be truthful. Sincerity and truthful are necessary for this surrender, or what we call Sharanagati. You can deceive human being, but you can't deceive divine. You can't deceive Paramatma. You can't deceive Bhagwan. You can't deceive God. This deception chalta hai to human beings, but not with divine. I am just telling a story. Many of you might be knowing this story. There was one guru, and he had many disciples, many shishyas. One of those shishya, those disciples, was Ram Bharose. Ram Bharose was not very intellectually sharp. Others were remembering many shlokas and other various Upanishads, all those things. But apparently, the Guru has more affection towards this Ram Bharose. So because of this, other disciples used to say to the Guru, कि Guruji, Ram Bharose doesn't remember much shloka, and we all remembering shloka, and we presume that you are having more affinity. You are favoring that Ram Bharose. Guruji said, it appears to you, but it's not so. After 1-2 days, he called all the disciples, all the pupils, and provided a sweet mango to all the disciples. He said, this is very tasty, and go and take this. But one condition is there, that it should be taken in absence of any and everybody. It should be hidden. Nobody can see. So after 1 or 2 days, again, all disciples were called. He asked, did you take? How was it? What was its taste? Everybody said, Guruji, it was very tasty. So he said, how did you take? Somebody said, I was behind your kutia hermit. Somebody said, I was under cover of my quilt. Somebody said, I was on tree. Somebody told, I was in dark place, nobody could see. Okay. Ram Bharose came. Guruji asked Ram Bharose, what happened to you? So he said, Guruji, I didn't take. मैंने खाया नहीं. कहले, why? These places were not available to you. He said, but your condition was such. I can hide myself from anybody and everybody. But how can I hide myself from Ram, my Lord? He is everywhere. He is knowing everything. How can I hide myself from him? So that means sincerity and truthfulness is such that every time divine is in front of you, if we perform our duties, that divine is in front of you, then that means real sincerity. I can quote an example. One disciple of Mother's in Pondicherry asked, Mother, just provide me, give me some responsibility. Mother said, my dear so-and-so, all the responsibility is of mine. It is not your responsibility. Only thing is you have to perform your duties in right spirit and with right perspective and sincerely. That's what is needed from you. Rest is put on me. So that is the thing. Okay, this is the truthfulness and sincerity. And in fact, truthful and sincerity is needed in every field of life, in every sphere of life, not only to spiritual life, but here, this is the must in spiritual life for surrender, truthfulness. Now, for this, what should we do? First thing, Mother said, I'm talking of Mother. She said, my dear friends, first organize your all the personalities of the life. Suppose I am doctor, I am husband, I am brother, I am father. You have, or I have many personalities. First organize this. And for this organization, first you have to become an individual. Individuality has to be established first thing. And this individuality, this Vyaktitva, should be offered to the divine. So much so that you are identified with the divine. And lastly, let the whole of your personality be possessed by divine so that you may become the Murti of the divine. That means complete surrender. So these three things, this is, you can call triplet. But sincerely speaking, are we really having harmony in your life. All the difficulties of life are because of disharmony. In one aspect, I may be very strong. In other aspect, I may be very weak. So you have to organize, you have to harmonize, you have to integrate your personality. So that is the thing by which you can proceed. And next thing, again, this is the Shri Aurobindo's Bani. He said, for this surrender, there should be three things. First, aspiration. Second, rejection. And third, surrender. Aspiration means to have such a desire that I may go to the divine, I may proceed to the divine, and not the worldly things. Of course, worldly things are needed, but these things should be needed to offer to divine. So first thing is we must have aspiration for the divine. That is abhipsa. In Hindi or Sanskrit, it is said abhipsa. Second thing is rejection. Rejection of what? Rejection of our lower nature. In fact, in Antakaran Chatushtay, in our inner equipment, Dr. Sharma knows very well, and all of you must be knowing, this inner equipment consists of 4 aspects. One, mind. That means it has no definitive power. It's sankalp. ये संकल्प करता, विकल्प करता. Should I do this? Should I do that? And second thing is intellect. Intellect means it has definitive attitude. It has the power of discriminating the things, what is wrong, what is right. And third thing, chit, which is a storehouse of memories. And fourth thing is ego. That is, these chit, mind, intellect belong to whom? I-ness, my-ness, these things are called ego. So for this aspect of inner equipment, Antakaran Chatushtay, we know. So for this Antakaran, we must be having a lot of things in our mind. Actually, there is a lot of turbidity. We have krodha, means anger. We have low greed. We have jealousy. We have so many dirty things normally in our ignorant stages. So by and by, try to purify all these things. For example, nobody can say, I'm not getting angry. Everybody becomes angry once, twice. Somebody is identified with anger. So Swami Chinmayanand used to say that I put anger in my pocket and utilize it whenever I need it. There is need of anger, but mostly we are under compulsion of anger. But it should be that the anger should be our slave. Whenever we need it, we should utilize. It is needed. Similarly, we have greed. Whenever our desires are fulfilled, another step comes in front of me, the greed. So similarly, there are many things, what we call jealousy, other things. These are really the various manifestation in various stages of desire, kamana. If there is obstruction in the way of kamana or desire, the reaction is anger. If your desire is fulfilled, there is another hankering, that is what we call greed. So these things, every time we should get rid of all these dirty things, then becomes our mind, our hridaya becomes nirmal, or it becomes clear. So this is the 24/7 sadhana. It is not for 1 hour, half an hour you have, or myself in meditation. That is not the thing. But while performing your duties, these things come in your our life, these should be removed continuously, regularly. Then our mind becomes clean. It becomes really Nirmal Hriday. And Nirmal Hriday is the dwelling place of Antarjami Bhagwan. So second thing is rejection. This is 24 into 7 hour sadhana. And third is, of course, surrender. I have talked a little bit about surrender, that everything should be offered to divine. That means patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, whatever you are having, you must offer to the divine. So by this triplet, this is aspiration, rejection, surrender. And you will proceed in your yoga business. Now, another thing is, what are various steps of this surrender, what we call Sharanagati. Before coming to various steps, let us come to the revelation of Bhagavad Gita. What is the most important factor for Bhagavad Gita to get revealed in battlefield? The question comes, it was the field of Kurukshetra, where Kaurava and Pandava armies were in front of each other. And is it possible to have this Brahma Vidya Upadesha in Kurukshetra Maidana? Apparently, it doesn't appear. But when we think very sincerely and deeply, actually, for revelation of Brahma Vidya, the most important factor is Sharanagati, complete surrender. In Arjuna Vishad Yoga, in the first chapter, Lord Krishna didn't deliver any Upadesh. He just listened the Arjuna. And Arjuna was just talking about sannyas, sannyas, sannyas. And this was not the real sannyas which he was talking, because his manobhumi was not prepared for sannyas. Only thing is, he had a fear to get involved in the battlefield, because on adharma side, his relations were there. How he can fight with those relations? But the real dharma of Kshatri is to fight against adharma. So that's how Lord Krishna mentally prepared him for his duties. At that point of time, his duty was to fight against Kaurava, against adharma. Then, by and by, he convinces Arjuna to perform his duties, and whole Gita revealed when he did complete surrender. So, I want to say that for spiritual Vidya, Adhyat Vidya, it is the surrender, it is Sharanagati, that is the most important. Place and time are secondary things. So here I want to open etymologically what Sharanagati means. Sharanagati means, it is Sanskrit word. Sharan means home, and Agati, this is Sharan plus Agati. Sharan means home and Agati means arrival. You and I perform our duties, and in the evening or in night, we say that let's go to our home. Let's go our place. It is said, home is a place where everybody gets peace, and that there is no further chances to go outside. that will take rest. So here for Sharanagati, it is said it is not for our this worldly home, but Sharan means the divine's place. And what is divine's place? That is Atma. That is your essence. That is Sarup. If you get established in divine, which is our essence, essential nature, then there is no need of wandering here and there. There is no inevitability of wandering here and there. So that is what we call Sharanagati. For Sharanagati, 5-6 steps are told, and that is for our practical purpose. Of course, for Sharanagati, there must be somebody or someone to whom we get surrender. The first thing is we must understand psychology of that person or that object to whom I am going to get surrender. You are very good teachers. Many students you must have come across in your life that they were the following your instructions completely and totally. And as a guru, you must have feeling to give each and everything, whatever you know. This is as a result of total surrender. That means the student understand your psychology. Whatever you want to say, he or she follows sincerely. So first thing is Anukulas Sankalp. Whatever is preferred by, say for example, Guru, that should be performed by the disciple. First step. Second thing, if something teacher or Guru doesn't want, doesn't like, it should not be performed. That means pratikulasya varjanam. Whatever is unfavorable for him, it should not be done. Two things, anukulasya sankalpa and pratikulasya varjanam. Two things. And third thing, one must have complete faith that I'll be protected under his guidance. Under his means under teacher, under divine, whatever it may be. So that means the feeling of complete suraksha, complete protection. For this, it is said that the very classical example of friendship of Ram and Sugriv, you must have heard. Ramcharitmanas must have studied Ramcharitmanas. So Sugriv was very much perplexed because of his brother Bali. When Ram went to jungle and there was going to be friendship by the way of Hanumanji between Ram and Sugriv, and Ram assured him that I'll kill the Bali. So he had said, Ki Bhagwan, Bali is very strong. He is having enormous force. That means he was having some doubt about the protecting power of Rama. So he showed 7 mighty trees of ताड़. ताड़ आपके उधर बहुत होता है, ताड़ के पेड़. So he showed 7 mighty trees, and he said, if one can fall, one can by one stroke, if all these trees fall down, that is very good achievement. So Ram, with one arrow, just got all the trees fallen down. So then Sugriv had some courage that he'll protect me and he can kill my brother. So third thing is that you must have enough or total sense of security under him. Third thing. Fourth thing, one must have complete humility. One must be humble, very humble. Example of Hanumanji. Hanumanji has enormous power, but at the same time most humble. In Ramayana, it is said that I can do anything and everything, but not by my own power, but it is the power of our Lord Rama. That is the parakashtha. That is the really, that is the thing of humbleness. I am not by my own power, but it is the power of Lord Rama. So this humbleness is another important thing. Another thing is that one must consider oneself that he is deen, he is nothing, because the surrender to have completed, or for complete surrender, one must get rid of all the egos. So for this is important to have this complete eradication of ego. And here it is said that it should be like burnt grass. There is no sprouting in grass when it is burnt. So if there is such type of feeling that I am nothing in front of Lord, in front of my Guru, that is the thing. Another thing, he can perform all the things for me. This should be confidence. In Bhagavad Gita, Shloka 22 in chapter 9, it is said, very famous shloka, Ananyashyantanto mam yojana paripasate tesham nitya vyuktanam yoga kshemam bahamya, which is the theme of life insurance, yoga kshemam bahamya. That means ki who gets surrendered to me, and I'll take all the responsibility of what he is not having, and having protection to what he is having. Ananyashchintyanto mam yojana paripasate tesham nityam yuktanam yogakshemam bahamya. That means I take all the responsibility of his yoga and kshema. That means whatever he is not having, I'll provide him, and whatever he is having, I'll protect him. So this type of confidence must be built by that disciple. So these are 5-6 steps by which get surrender or sharanagati in the Guru, in divine. So here our aim is to dilute whole of our ego. Sri Aurobindo used to say that initially ego is necessary. Ego is helper, but later on it becomes bar. For organizing our various personalities, definitely ego is necessary. But if we remain egoistic in our life, certainly that will hamper our progress. So all the sadhanas are performed to dilute our ego. So if we consider this much, that means what is surrender? Number one, how to surrender. Second thing, and what are steps of surrender or sharanagati. Then will come something about Bhagavad Gita. The two largest chapters of Bhagavad Gita are 2nd and 18th. 2nd is having 72 shloka, and 18th is having 78 shlokas. And Bhagavad Gita is, of course, a divine song. It is given to Arjuna. And, there are two persons who got this Bhagavad Gita's message from Lord Krishna. One is Arjuna, and second is Sri Aurobindo in Alipur jail. Yeah. Alipur jail, Sri Aurobindo. He was given the message of Bhagavad Gita in 1909. So, in Bhagavad Gita, after counseling Arjuna, perform this much, this. And lastly, he comes to have the acme of the whole discourse, and that is surrender. If we think of 18th chapter, 65th shloka of Bhagavad Gita, so that means man mana bhav mad bhakta madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyas satyam te pratijane priyo asme. Here Lord says, Arjuna, fix your mind upon me alone. Second thing, he says, be devoted to me. And third, sacrifice for me. And fourth, bow down to me. Fourth thing, manmana bhav mad bhakta. Manmana means devote to me. Then bow to me. Perform for me. And after this he says, then you become of me. Another thing, commanding word he says, मैं सत्य कहता हूं, सत्यम ते प्रति जाने. You are dear to me. Here he says, do this, do this, do this, do this. Why? You are dear to me. Many of audience are teachers. There is love in spiritual teaching. In fact, motivational force for spiritual teaching is love. Here, Lord Krishna says, you are dear to me. That means he is having love for Arjuna. And really, this spiritual teaching for a teacher provides the ecstasy, satisfaction, and real joy, and that is reward of a teacher for this spiritual teaching when there is joyous ecstasy. So here Lord Krishna asserts him for this joyous ecstasy. Then after telling all these things, indicating all these things, he suddenly says, Sarv dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam braj aham tva sarv papebhyo mokshashyami ma shucha. This is the 66th shloka of Bhagavad Gita, which is the noblest shloka, yet most controversial. Here Lord says, abandoning all dharmas and in take refuge in me alone, I liberate from all sins, grieve not. Here we have to deliver something about dharma. In fact, dharma has many meaning in different texts, different context. Some people used to say, this is my duty and this duty is my dharma. I am doctor, to serve the patient is my dharma. Some people used to say, naitikta, ethics is dharma. Some people used to say that various ceremonials are dharma. Of course, in narrow senses, these are dharma. But these are really not dharma. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, dharma means law of being. That means we can exemplify by the example of sugar and fire. The dharma is real, the essence of that particular object. For example, for sugar, the sweetness is its dharma. You can't put this sweetness from outside. It is inbuilt. It is essence of sugar. That's what we call its dharma. The sugar particle may be small, it may be large, it may be powder form, it may be bright red, it may be little other color, but its sweetness is essence. So this is the law of being. That is what we call really dharma. So consider another example, fire. Fire has its dharma, and that dharma is heat. Its flame may be red, yellow, blue, green. There may be smoke, but these may be changeable. But its one essence is that it has got heat. There is no other type of fire without heat. That is not fire. Fire, this heat is inbuilt in fire. That is essence. So it is its dharma. What about human being? So here, Lord says, abandoning all dharma. Swami, again, I'll quote Swami Chinmayanand. He used to say, we are ignorantly wise and stupidly intellectual. We all are intellectual, but ignorantly wise. He used to say that in ignorance, we identify ourselves with many anatma things, as I told earlier. And those anatma things are that I am body, I am mind, I am intellect, I am so, I am so. But these are not your essential features. There are two types of features. One essential, another is non-essential. Essential feature may be I am tall, I am small, I am black, I am white, I am so thick, thin. These are non-essential features. But essence of every human being is his or her Atma. Without Atma, we can't exist. That is our existence. So that's why we have to get established in our essence, and that is Atma. So here Lord says, कि Arjuna, just abandoning all dharmas, because in ignorance, you were identifying yourself with various non-essential things, anatma things. So get rid of those, abandoning all dharmas. Come to me alone. Aham Ma mekam sharanam braj. Come to my refuge alone. मेरे शरण में आ जाओ. और मेरे शरण में आ जाओ means come to my refuge alone. Aham tva sarpapebhyo. I'll liberate you from all the sins. What does this sin means? Sin doesn't mean murder. Sin doesn't mean only theft. But sin is an act by which you get ashant. Your peace is disturbed. That is the sin. Whatever you do, if you perform theft, you will not be peaceful. If you perform bribery, you will not be peaceful. Similarly, so whatever you perform which disturbs your mind, that gets sin. So when Lord says, ye aham twap sarpapebhyo, I liberate from all the sins. So by this non-attachment to various dharma, I liberate you. Then he says, grieve not. Mashucha, आप चिंता मत करो. Why? Even a seeker, even a person of a spiritual path, many times he gets perturbed. He says, I have performed so many sadhanas, so many yajnas, so many meditations, but what will happen to me if I get accidentally killed? Another thing, कब मेरा मोक्ष होगा? मोक्ष होगा कि नहीं? So this is also some sort of apprehension. So if Lord says, if you have complete surrender, if you came to me, came to me, then you'll get rid of all these griefs. Grieve not. Chinta mat karo. Shok mat karo. So this 66th slok, because of considering its various different meaning of dharma, many scholars have a lot of controversies. But if we consider this thing, what is law of being, you have to identify with that, then certainly there is no need of, at this moment, there is no movement of identifying to various dharma to which you are attached ignorantly. So this shlok is said, the noblest stanza of the Bhagavad Gita, and Sri Aurobindo has written a lot on this in his commentary of Gita Prabandha. So with this, let's see what I have told, because I think I am nearing to my time. So first thing is, what is surrender? It is decision taken to hand over all the responsibility of your life to the divine, number one. Number two, for surrender, one must be truthful and sincere. Third thing, of course, you have to organize your personality, and that should be devoted to the divine, offer to divine, so that divine may take complete possession of your whole being. And third thing, 24/7, you must get aspiration, you must have rejection, one must have surrender. And surrender means giving, offering to the divine. One story is there, and probably Rabindranath Thakur has written that he said that once I was going to have some bhiksha from Paramatma. I was having some rice in my container, and I was just going, and from front, Lord was coming with his golden rath. So when I was thinking, wow, I'll get whatever I want to have, because Lord is in front of me. So as he reached near, Lord himself just put his hand in front of him, and he thought, I wanted to take from him, but he himself wanted something from me. Then he took a rice on his hand. That's what he did, and divine came to his way, and myself, means Rabindranath Tagore, went to his way. He was very much depressed, and he said, I wanted to have something, but before that, he came to me and he asked something for me, and he reached to his house, home, he reached to his place, and he just poured the whole that rice. Then one rice was of gold. एक राइस जो है वो गोल्ड हो गया. He said कि oh, I have committed a lot of mistake, a blunder I committed. Why didn't I give whole of my chawal to him? Otherwise, I became very much miser, and I didn't get. So that means कि कहते in Hindi, it is said कि देना ही पाना है, देना ही पाना है. आप जिसको जितना ज्यादा देंगे वो उतना देगा. और भगवान डिवाइन is always in search to have something from you. And you know, For his bhakta, for his devotees, divine has not to make any effort, but to help those bhakta, those devotees. It is his nature. For example, the sun has not to make any effort to provide light to us. It is his nature. It is its nature. So it is the nature of divine to provide the bhakta whatever they need. Here in Savitri it is said, in Savitri, Savitri is epic of Sri Aurobindo. Some of you might have heard, might have read. I had to come to study Savitri 110 times. That is the beauty, that is the divine grace. So there he said, sincere prayers are always granted. Sincere prayers are always granted, provided it is sincere. But another line he said, heaven's wiser love rejects mortal prayer. Heaven's wiser love rejects mortal prayer. Here heaven means Bhagwan, divine, Uchatar Satta, higher consciousness. So apparently there is paradox. At one place he said sincere prayers are always granted. Another place, heaven's wiser love rejects mortal prayer. So it is said that divine is much more intelligent than you and I. He is not there to fulfill your wishes. That means whatever favorable to you, he is not there to fulfill that. But what is hitakar, what is beneficial to it, that is the bhava of divine. So whenever he considers that it is not, this demand is not favorable for it, this disciple, then he rejects. So sincerity is must, but sincerity should be always for complete surrender. And you know, many of you might not be aware of Savitri. In Savitri, there are two characters. One Savitri, another is his father, Ashwapati. Entire Savitri is based on complete surrender. And that is the greatest epic of the English in the world, greatest epic. And it was not written at the level of mind, but above the mind. And it was written between 40 to 50 years of sadhana. So that is something very great epic. So there, the whole thing comes around surrender. When Ashwapati, when reaches to certain level, then he thinks that it is the ekme, but he gets some indications from higher authorities, higher level of consciousness, and he says that this is not ultimate, go ahead, go ahead. So by this, he keeps on going, keeps on going, keeps on uplifting till he reached the complete surrender. Similarly, Savitri, she is also devotee of divine, devotee of mother, and by complete surrender, she gets indication whenever is needed for uplift, for uplift, for uplift. So concluding, surrender is the marvelous and most important thing for yoga. Unless we get surrender, and it is said, mother said, if you are not having the tendency to surrender, don't come to the path of yoga, because path of yoga is very difficult, and by sadhana, by tapasya alone, it is not having this accomplishment. So with this, I think I have just completed 45 or 50 minutes. And if any questions, I can you can ask or you can comment, because I can learn from you much than what I told. My thanks to FOSWL, especially Dr. Sharma brothers and his team. I'm very thankful to you that you provided such an opportunity on such platform of such an august gathering. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the President. What an exhilarating, informative, motivating, fundamentally practice-changing lecture that we have just now heard from our revered speaker, Sri Singhji. Dr. Singhji, needless to say, he is a great philosopher and also a scholar who is trained under the tutelage of our Sarvindo. He started as saying, surrender is the fundamental step for all the sadhanas. Yoga, the term, is very loosely used today for some exercises and other things. Yoga actually means a realization that there is nothing to add to you and nothing to subtract from you, because you are already Purna. And we are always dwelling in the Anatma parts and forgetting the divine part in us. For spiritual uplift, all the IDs, all the titles, that I am cardiologist, I am physician, I am householder, I am this, I am that, I am Brahmin, I am this caste, that kind, this state, that language, all have to be brought to a zero. That means your biodata, if it is submitted at the feet of Lord, should contain no ID information. Ignorance in us is we are identifying ourselves with the Anatma. Surrender is what? He defined surrender as a decision, a willful decision to hand over all the responsibility to the divine. It is very easy to say, he said, in the same breath, very difficult to practically apply. Every aspect is to be performed as yajna in our life. There are three things: offer our duty to the divine, and then perform the duty with selfless motive, and do for loka sangraha, for the well-being of one and all. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he has quoted the two types of nyaya, which is called the Markata Kishora Nyaya and the Marjala Kishora Nyaya. That is the monkey catching its monkey's belly caught by the young monkey, and the cat catching the neck of the young one and taking. Here in surrender, it is the Marjala Kishora Nyaya. That means the Guru or the divine will take you once you surrender. Sincerity and truthfulness cannot be overemphasized. We cannot deceive the divine. And he uttered the story of mango eating, where there is no place to hide when we want to eat the mango without anyone seeing, in the absence of anyone, because the divine, the Almighty, is ever with us, in front of us, behind us, and within us. What should we do then? Organize all your functionalities and personalities into oneness and offer yourself, your individuality undividedly to the divine. We become the divine Murti itself by doing that. Step 1, organize your personalities. 2, offer your individuality. And 3, you merge with the divine. We become the divine. Integrate all your strengths. What is surrender? Surrender has got 3 important things. 1, abhipsa. This is in Vedanta. It is called mumukshatva, the intense longing or aspiration to become the divine or to meet the divine within. Number two is rejection. This is in Vedanta parlance, is called vairagya or purifying the inner self using the inner equipments. And thirdly, the surrender. The inner equipment, as we all know, is mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta. The four inner equipments have to be purified. There are 6 people to go out and there are 6 people to come in. What are the 6 ones to go? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. What are the 6 ones to come in? Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadha. Then 24/7 into 365, every time, every place, everywhere. Nirmala Hridaya and Nischala Hridaya. Nirmala without any taint or impurity, Nischala without the wavering. Steps of Saranagati, Dr. Ji has revealed using Bhagavad Gita Saranagati example by Arjun, and the place and time in Saranagati are secondary. He also etymologically derived the word Saran plus Agati. Agati is arrival, Saran is home, homecoming. Homecoming means not coming to my personal home or flat or anything. It is arrival into your original Swarupa. It is not the worldly home, but it is the divine homecoming. He is realizing the Atma. Then he went on to tell us the practical steps of surrender. What are the things? First one, you must identify to whom to surrender to. Is it to the Guru? Is it to the Brahman? Is it to the Atman? Is it to the Sakara Saguna? Swarupa that you worship does not matter. But you have to decide to whom to surrender. Shastravakya, Guru Vakya, and the Divine Vakya are one and the same. This he put it as Anukulasya Sankalpaha. Then Pratikulasya Varjanam. Get away from all the unwanted things. And third one is Suraksha. Suraksha, he used the example of Ram and Shugriv. Under the Guru, you should feel that you are very secure and safe. Humility is the fourth one, and he exemplified by Hanumanji. The fifth one is eradication of the ego, ahankara rahitya. Okay? Burnt seeds, burnt grass, never spring forth again. Ahankara rahitya should be to that extent. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. The pendant verse of Bhagavad Gita, 350 verses on one side, 350 on the other side. The pendant verse is the Ananyas Chintayanto, which is highlighted, and its importance has been inculcated in our mind. Ego is necessary initially, said Aurobindo, he said. Later on, we have to eradicate the ego. He quoted 2 verses from the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the 65th and the 66th. The 65th one is Man manabhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namastu. Mameva ishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosimi. You are very dear to me. Priyosimi. With love, he has instructed us. Here, pratijane, the word is important. Pratijane is Lord is promising. Usually we promise the Lord we do something. Your Lord is coming and promising you that he will deliver you from all the sins. And finally, he used the sloka sarvadharman parityajya mamyekam saranam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha, grieve not. Here, the dharma word has been very well explained by our learned speaker. And if we look at dharma as the essence or ingredient of anything, like the sweetness of Mysore pak or the saltness of seawater is the essence. Our essence is the Swarupa or the Atma. Once you are with that, then all sins are annihilated and you are absolved of everything and you are liberated. Ma suchaha, grieve not. Finally, he used Chenmaya's quotation. We are ignorantly wise and stupidly intelligent. Looks to be very true when we analyze ourselves. Rabindranath Tagore's story of offering one grain of rice to the person who asked for it tells us that we should dole out whatever we have in largest possible way so that we reap that in still larger way too. This is a wonderful message. And, sincerely, the sincere prayers are always granted. The same token, the Lord, the divine, rejects the mortal prayers. What does that mean? You have to have immortal prayers. What is immortal prayer? Surrendering yourself, surrendering your ego, surrendering your ID, and surrendering your entire thing at the lotus feet of the divine, whichever may be the divine. You can name, form it in any way you like, but surrender, as we said in the beginning, is the fundamental step of all the softness. My heart doles out with pride and happiness for my friend, philosopher, Dr. G, our Singh Ji, for giving us such a wonderful lecture and wonderful insight into what exactly is Saranagati. So I urge all the participants here not to worry about what is going on in the world in the form of wars or corruptions. Do yourself what is expected of you as a human being and practice the principles of ego, withholding yourself from your IDs and also erasing your egocentric behavior and surrendering at the divine feet of the Lord. Thank you very much.